I'm joined now by Jason Campbell, who is an associate policy analyst at the RAND Corporation, where he focuses on issues of international security. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. President Francois Hollande has called these Paris attacks an act of war, and he has also spoken to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. Do you think this is a sign Western countries are coming closer to the Russian approach towards the war in Syria?
No, I think right now that would be probably a bit more speculative than can be stated assertively now. I think that the Russians' involvement in Syria has a lot of motivations that remain very different from France and the rest of the West, particularly when it comes to the existence of the Assad regime. If anything, I would say that Russia is now coming more in line with the West, where you're seeing increased targeting of positions that are more specifically ISIS, rather than general groups that are fighting against the Assad regime. So I would say, if anything, it's more the other way than the West coming towards the Russian position.
Jason, we're hearing a lot about Daesh recruiting fighters outside of the Middle East and more into Western countries. How can European governments and security officials deal with this?
Well, this is obviously a challenge that's been ongoing now for a couple of years. I think what the recent attacks in Paris show is that what many feared for now years was that you're seeing some of these fighters that have gone off to Syria, been recruited from places in Europe to Syria, are now beginning to find their way back and take some of that radicalization that they obtained in Syria and some of the, quite frankly, the know-how from a tactical standpoint, and return to their home countries and start organizing attacks on European soil. So this is an issue that's been feared for a long time, and unfortunately, we're now seeing it come to fruition.
What you're describing there certainly sounds like a long-term project. So in your experience, where there is an attack of this magnitude, how much money and planning goes into executing such an atrocity?
Well, unfortunately, from a resources standpoint, as long as you have the willing and somewhat capable manpower to carry out an attack like this, it's not very expensive. As even on Friday night in Paris, you're talking small arms, Kalashnikov rifles, maybe some grenades, and some technical know-how to be able to make explosive devices from what are really not very difficult to obtain materials. So from a resources standpoint, it's not very costly. The trick is doing a coordinated attack without falling under the auspices of the security forces locally, which unfortunately they were able to do on Friday.
Jason Campbell from the RAND Corporation, thank you.